So it was fast, but did you just call our Hindu, Muslim, and Jewish members demons? I heard you say if they did not have Jesus Christ in their heart.
No, if you don't have the Holy Spirit inside you, there's a phrase you can't say, Jesus Christ is come in the flesh. And if you are open to those other gods based on that faith, you're allowing other gods, non-Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh gods, to possess your physical form.
Follow up. So
that would be described as being giving access to your physical form. You're the mystery, hidden from angels for generations, the hope of Christ, hope of God, Christ in you. So if you're not down with that, so to speak, if you're of another religion that's not of that, you've given access to non-godly entities to make your decisions.
Representative Liston, could you bring this back to HB 68, please?
This is Stuart Long, an Ohio pastor who attacks non-Christian members of the community.
I'm concerned that he's calling our members demons and saying that that's why we support this,
Not
or
demons.
we are against this bill.
No, we're all hopefully human entities, but like what you allow to rule your spirit, your soul, and a body, right? And what you allow to rule in the spirit controls your physical soul and your body if you're in order. But a lot of times your body's in control, uses the spirit to feed its energy. It's kind of a metaphysical conversation. I'm not calling you demons. I'm just bringing up the fact that you might be possessed and making decisions without the discernment of God.
All right, and I will just say on behalf of my members and those we represent of other religious backgrounds that any opposition to this bill, I will strongly say, is not from possession by demons.
This is psychotic on this dude's part, yet is a direct representation on the failures that Republicans are claiming to be with the separation of church and state, and look no further than Oklahoma.
Throughout my years here at the Capitol, it seems we've gone beyond blurring the lines of separation of church and state to just a church and state. But today, I stand and advocate for that wall of separation, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why I believe our taxpayer dollars, everyone's taxpayer dollars, should not subsidize religious institutions.
Rep. Mickey Dolenz was on the House floor speaking on the recent news. Via Politico, Oklahoma authorities approved a Catholic-led bid to open the country's first publicly funded religious charter school in a landmark decision that is expected to spur litigation over constitutional limits between church and state. Now, here's the thing. They've been telling you this all along.
Fake news media, the uniparty in Washington, they're trying to take God out of all aspects of society. And they're trying to water down on the Judeo-Christian bedrock of America. And my personal feeling is we shouldn't be watering down. We should be doubling down. We should be instilling faith in the classroom, in the workplace, and everywhere in society. The secular left, the ACLU, the Southern Poverty Law Center, a lot of these Soros-funded organizations, they advance the argument that the separation of church and state exists, and for that reason you can't teach kids about religion. My personal feeling is there's no such thing as separation of church and state.
Josh Mandel, this loser, well, lost his election. However,
the church is supposed to direct the government. The government is not supposed to direct the church. That is not how our founding fathers intended it. And I'm tired of this separation of church and state junk that's not in the Constitution. It was in a stinking letter, and it means nothing like what they say it does.
folks like Lauren Boebert, who claimed to believe in family values yet stayed with her husband who exposed himself to minors, say the quiet part out loud.
I mean, how frickin' deluded, twisted, backwoods, idiotic, stupid do you gotta be to think that you're gonna push your religion on me? These are your baseball coaches, your pastors. They're all up in your life, and they believe this. This is their pledge prayer. They're gonna take over the government, man. They're gonna tell you how to live. You think the headman's tale was sad? Oh no, man. No. What they said about women and your daughters, and how they were the property of their husbands, and all that you said, you just kind of shrugged off a little bit because hey, that's not our society. That ain't, that's just talk. Well, it ain't just talk. These guys are having a party about it.
With that first video, via the Columbus Dispatch, there is more. During testimony at an Ohio House hearing about whether transgender minors should have access to hormone therapies and surgeries, a man accused non-Christians who opposed House Bill 68 of being potentially possessed by demons. The only thing that makes sense is demons are influencing people, allowing their bodies to be possessed to run satanic agendas. Stuart Long of Columbus said before the Ohio House Public Health Policy Committee, and if you can't say Jesus Christ has come in the flesh, your body is possessed, most likely by demons, or you haven't invited him in. House Bill 68, which was having its second hearing at the State House, would restrict the kinds of medical treatments trans minors could access in Ohio. Hormones, puberty blockers, and surgery would all be off limits until a person is 18. Minors currently on hormones would have 180 days from the bill's inaction to quit treatment or leave the state. And it would let Ohio's Attorney General potentially penalize doctors or therapists who refer patients out of state. I need to make this very clear. For those who maybe stumbled upon this video or have followed our work previously, the whole movement, which started via Republican governors like Ron DeSantis in Florida, Tate Reeves in Mississippi, what have you. It started with, we need to protect girls' sports. And they started lambasting and going over how terrible it was that women's sports and girls' sports are going to be ruined because of trans people. That's my dog walking, by the way. That's why you're hearing the little bell. So, with that being said, what they started were these coalitions like Beth Selzer, who's a bigot, and many others, Riley Gaines, who's a bigot, and they would attack the already marginalized when the numbers do not align with this sheer forceful movement that they are going over. It was just the beginning. It was the tip of the iceberg for these people to then say, you know what the real problem is? Trans people in general. I have always said this, and I will continue saying it. Sports represents the times and the present day. The fact that we are having these discussions with someone like Stuart Long, who is clearly a conspiracy theorist nut job, using religion as his main shield of defense to be a bigot, is problematic and is also representative of where we are today. It is sad, but I've said this before. It's not about trans people in sports. It is not about someone using a bathroom. It is about Michael Knowles also saying the quiet part out loud. A movement to eradicate people for just existing.